program, which is terrific to see. My name is Ed Israelo, and I am an attorney in Westfield, New Jersey.
I'm Viola Lordy. I'm an attorney at Willens Golden Spitzer in Woodbridge.
My name is Alan Rosenthal. I teach politics at Rutgers.
I'd like to introduce ourselves.
Hi, my name is Kelly Kennedy.
My name is Armand Sandu. Hello, I'm Papa Mitos.
Good morning, my name is Samantha Serrano.
Good morning, my name is Patricia Inesi.
Good morning, my name is Zoe Sincha, and I'm here with my teachers, Mr. Luca and Mr. Fraser.
Welcome. Thank you for being here. Juniors, seniors, a mix?
Sophomores.
Sophomores, okay, wonderful. Even better. Okay, this is Unit 6, and the question is, the Bill of Rights has been called the single greatest contribution of American constitutionalism to the world. Is it deserving of such high praise? What evidence would you offer to support this? The Bill of Rights is what the people are entitled to against every government on earth, and what no just government should refuse or rest on inferences. In what ways does this claim draw on the natural rights philosophy? How and why has the Bill of Rights continued to serve as an inspiration to peoples across the world today?
When the founders presented the Constitution, it did not contain a Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights was added later to satisfy the citizens' desire to have their rights formally written down. The Federalists and Anti-Federalists were two of the first known factions in the United States. Their views differed regarding what should be included in the Constitution. Federalists believed that the people's rights are understood, therefore there was no need to list them. On the other hand, Anti-Federalists felt it necessary to specify the people's natural rights for a sense of security. In Miracle at Philadelphia, Catherine Drinker Bowen refers to George Mason's criticism. He stated, "There is no declaration of rights." The only way to ratify the Constitution was to appease the Anti-Federalists by including a Bill of Rights.
Madison believed the minority needed to be protected from the tyranny of majority. Since the creation of the Bill of Rights, critics have been skeptical of its purpose. Federalist James Madison was unconvinced of the value of a listing of rights, calling it a hardship barrier. Madison's preference was to give Congress an unlimited veto over state laws and creating a joint executive-judicial council of revision that could veto federal laws. On the other hand, Republican Thomas Jefferson was critical that the Constitution contained no Bill of Rights, for he feared that the federal government might abuse the rights of the individual. When the Constitution was finally written, Jefferson inspired Madison to write the first draft of the Bill of Rights.
The Bill of Rights only applies to the actions of the federal government and not the state. This was reinforced in the case of Brown v. Baltimore in 1833. The court clarified that the federal government cannot compensate for damages done to property caused by the state, since the Bill of Rights supposedly only applied to the national government. Chief Justice John Marshall explained this in his ruling, where he stated, "If these propositions be correct, the Fifth Amendment must be understood as restraining the power of the general government, not as applicable to the people."
The Bill of Rights became relevant through the 14th Amendment and its incorporation to the states. Therefore, the document is then deserving of such high praise. In 1925, in the case of Gitlow versus New York, the defendant Gitlow was distributing left-wing manifesto and arrested against his First Amendment rights. Gitlow argued that he had the right to publish his work since it did not pose a direct threat to the United States government. However, the court found him guilty and he was nevertheless convicted. This case led to the incorporation of the First Amendment to the states. In 1961, in the case of Mapp versus Ohio, police officers violated the Fourth Amendment by forcibly entering Miss Mapp's home in search of illegal loot materials. The court ruled that this evidence could not be used against her because it was illegally obtained, thus the exclusionary rule was incorporated to the states.
The natural rights philosophy is present in many bills of rights on state, national, and international levels. John Locke introduced his philosophy on the unalienable rights of man during the Enlightenment. When signing and ratifying the Constitution at the special conventions, the founders acted as the voices of the people and represented the consent of the governed. This includes freedom of speech, right to free trial, protection of property, and no use of cruel or unusual punishment.
In 1944, Franklin Delano Roosevelt asked Congress in his State of the Union address to create a second Bill of Rights. The American Bill of Rights has served as a forerunner to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, adopted by the United Nations when it was first created in 1945. The First Amendment of the Bill of Rights was an example of negative rights that state the government cannot establish a religion. The Universal Declaration, on the other hand, contains positive rights, such as the right to marry and have a family. Both documents were created for the similar goal to bring peace to the nation and to the world. In Patriot's Handbook, Caroline Kennedy remarked, only 400 words long, the Bill of Rights forms the most comprehensive protection of individual liberty ever written.
Thank you. I'd like to ask you some follow-up questions. American rights and freedoms were not a gift of the country's founding fathers. They've always been a work in progress. Would you agree or disagree with the statement that they've always been a work in progress? And if so, can you provide some support for your response?
Yes, I do agree with this claim. That when the Bill of Rights was written, it was not admitted to all people, and initially it was only for the white community, because women were considered second-class citizens. Slaves had no rights at all, so they weren't considered citizens. They were more like treated as animals rather than people. And Native Americans were also treated with little to no respect, especially as mentioned in Tom Hartman's book, Unequal America.
I feel that it is a work in progress because as times change, we all know that technology changes, many things do change. And for instance, when they say that you can't, like the Fourth Amendment where you have to have a warrant, the phone hacking scandal that was in the 1920s, that wasn't against the Bill of Rights then, but because technology, like they made it illegal because of that.
What my colleague here is trying to mention, she's mentioning the case of Almanston versus United States in 1928, where the new technology is advancing so fast, wiretapping that is being used by the government. The eavesdropping was not considered a violation to one's privacy because we did not have such technology. As time went on, in 1934, they overruled this, saying because the technology has advanced so much, it must be considered. The founding fathers never realized that technology would advance so much that the Bill of Rights would have to incorporate such as things in Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, and any other communications used by the internet.
Let me ask a question about the current interpretation in the Bill of Rights of the right to free speech. The court currently interprets free speech to apply to campaign contributions. Money is speech. Do you agree with that interpretation? If so, why? Do you disagree with that interpretation? If so, why? And you can have diverse views on that, obviously.
I agree with the case of Buckley versus Vallejo, where it was restricted that the amount of money given to campaigns and used, the person's money who was running for the election can use the amount whichever they desire. However, if they're getting money from other people, it must be a limited amount. Now that we have super PACs in currently.
As in the Citizens United case, there was no limit put on the amount of money that lobbyists can give from corporations. They give so much money that they drown out the voice of other individuals. And this is going with Hamilton's elitist thought that the few elite should run the country, which isn't correct because...
So you don't agree with the...
I do not agree. Because I believe that it's a government run by the people and for the people and not just those with wealth.
Professor Roosevelt, you yourself in your book, The Third House, said...
Wow. Okay, that's it.
said that lobbyists are not only there to hand people information or to put a specific view out, but they're there to persuade and have people accept their views. In your book, you said in a U.S. Today poll, 64% of Americans believe that lobbyists is hurting constitutional democracy, which I personally don't agree with. I believe that what you don't have, you don't understand, such as money. For some large groups, they have quite a sum of money. For smaller groups, they don't have the sum of money that they do, and their ideas are kind of drowned out. But once again, when you don't know personally, you won't understand.
So you're saying you agree with the interpretation, money is the equivalent of speech in this
Yes.
world.
Well, in the way that
Which book of mine did you read?
But I was going to bring up how the corporations are people now, that whole thing, how they can donate as much money as they want through lobbyists, of course, and everything. On the Rachel Maddow show, she made a very good point. She was saying how if every individual in the nation donates, a big company like ExxonMobil can match it, if not double that, because the usual individual can only pay $2,500.
Continuing from my colleagues, the concept of lobbying was a noble term as in England Parliament, but as time went on, certain people such as Jack Abramoff have been arrested for trying to corrupt the government. However, it depends on your standpoint of how you lobby. You can lobby by those noble means and try to persuade the government to pass a law, or you can overdrown the public's opinion and voice.
In your same book, The Third House, you made a very interesting point. You said how a prior Speaker of the House, Don Tucker, made $500,000 by extending the racing season by using his influence over the House to pass that like you. So that just goes to show that if this past Speaker of the Houses can do that, obviously the influence is toward everything. To pay it off.
There was a mention about super PACs, and then we got a little off the track. Can you expand on that thought?
Oh, yes. I was going to mention that now that there are super PACs, they can donate basically an unlimited sum of money to candidates that are running for office, which would probably drown out the voices of many individuals because they can only donate $2,500. But now that there's super PACs, they can now influence our country a lot more than we, the people, who are lower class, can.
Well, it certainly has been a very interesting discussion. I think you've done a very nice job with this unit. I think you understood the evolving nature of the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. The discussion about technology was well done, about the latest campaign finance case and corporations being treated as people. I would have liked to have heard maybe a little bit more in terms of the inspiration that the Bill of Rights has provided to some of the emerging democracies. I'm not sure that was as much as maybe you should have, but overall I think it was an excellent presentation.
I think you really engaged on the question of money and speech. You engaged, you all over the place. And I would add that I've got a new book coming out on 6 called The Best Job in Politics. The best job what do you think it is? The best job in politics.
I guess the lobbyists, they seem to make money.
It's about governors. That's the best job. To be a governor is the best job.
And then particularly New Jersey, because it's such a strong...
they're all strong. New Jersey, they're all strong.
Right.
To be a governor is to get gratification.
Each of you made a very good presentation. You worked with one another collegially. I was happy to hear the understanding of the concept of Federalists and Anti-Federalists, which was so important a concept at the beginning of our nation. Obviously, you're reading the right books as well. You demonstrate an understanding of the grasp, and again, the collegiality is very impressive. You're obviously working together and respect each other's views. Everybody made a contribution, and I thank you for that.
Thank you. Good luck with the rest of the presentation.